Tell me what that wave was where you got nominated for the XXL award.
Oh man, get some PTSD going. Actually, this comes back to some sports psychology stuff. That session was huge for me and my career, even though I won't swear, I got my butt handed to me on that wave. So what had happened was, before the WSL had a big wave event out at Piahi, Red Bull wanted to put on an event. And at that time, it was real early in the paddle scene. It had only been maybe 2 or 3 years since people were like really pushing it out there. And we had our crew, right? It was like me and Albie we paddled it for the first time together, but we had, Isaac came with us, our friend Keiki came one time with us, Jeff Raleigh, there, Greg Long would come over, Mark Healy, Ian Walsh. Kai Lenny was there, but he was still doing stand-up. He hadn't even crossed over to the prone yet. And there's Billy Kemper. There was all the guys that are still owning it at the top level right now. But I didn't get invited into the event. I was an alternate. And half the guys that had gotten invited had never paddled the wave. Right? So in my mind, I was upset because I had been one of the standouts there over the last couple of years. As far as we know, or it's actually documented, me and Albie were some of the first guys to paddle in on the right. There were some Brazilian guys we knew that are nuts, like Marcio, rest in peace, but Danilo and Yuri. They would surf the left, all goofy footers. We're like, these guys are crazy. And we're like, why don't they go right? Like, all the rights. That West Bowl is too fast, it's too gnarly. Me and Albie are regular footers. Like, we'll surf the right. And we started doing fairly well out there. Albie got the invite because he's Albie Lair. He's already an established pro surfer. I was kind of nobody, just like the local, like, balls to the wall guy that would send it. I got the alternate thing, and I posted on my Instagram. I put alternate ? And I got I was getting phone calls from reps and friends like, delete that. Like, what are you doing? It's so disrespectful. I'm like, what do you mean? This is my backyard. And I'm a native Hawaiian of this land, of this island. And I'm a standout at this spot that I helped pioneer, quote unquote, at least for paddling the rights. And I'm not getting invited to the party. And the guys that were invited are tapped. They're some of the best big wave surfers in the world. But I was like, they haven't even paddled out here. They have no idea what this lineup is like. How is this possible? So I was pissed. And I got scolded. Girl, take it down. You're an alternate. You should be thankful. You're young. Like, you'll be in next year. Like, somebody might drop out. And I'm like, whatever. So that was my attitude. And honestly, I was hurt. And deep down, I was hurt. I was like, man, I put in so much time and effort into trying to be the best that I can be. This huge opportunity comes to my backyard and I get like a participation trophy. And actually, I don't even get to participate. I'm just kind of a part of it. And so they call the contest on. We did the opening ceremonies first. They called the contest on they had the holding period. Call it on. Everybody flies into town. Swell's massive. It looks like it's going to be clean. The day before, they call it off. And nobody knows why. And everybody's there. The swell is huge and the conditions were clean and it was good. And we still to this day don't know why they called it off, but I was so happy because I was like, now that the circus is in town, I'm going to go prove to all of you that I belong in this contest. It's a place of arrogance, full place of arrogance. I understand completely that I was so ego driven in that moment to go prove to everybody that I belong here. So that was my first wave of the session. I jump off the ski. It was me, Dave Stein, and Coconut Willie, who you should interview. He's a character. But Will Hunt, we went out together, and I marched straight to the peak. And everybody's out because John was invited, Dorian's there, Healy's there, Greg Long is there, Kai Lenny, Albie Lit, like the whole big wave world is there. Again, this was before the WSO had their event there, and this was Red Bull. Red Bull made it like this massive thing and then called it off. Everybody's still there, and the swell shows up. Like, it's game time. These big wave guys, it wasn't about just winning the contest. They were going to be out there regardless if there was a contest or not, but it did create a little different energy to the atmosphere. And I jump off and I just march straight to the peak. I'm like, I'm going on the next wave. I don't care. Like, I unless it's one of my boys deep, I was like, it's mine.
Right.
And sure enough, the biggest set of the day, just horizon goes black. And everyone starts scratching to get to the shoulder, and I'm like, I'm heading straight to the peak. And actually, Aaron Gold, so I think he still holds the world record for biggest paddling ever, which was out at Piahi. He's so deep. Of course he is, because he's a legitimate psychopath. Love the guy to death. The coolest, nicest, mellowest human being you will ever meet. Complete psycho in the lineup. He's so deep on like a 50-foot face wave. And I see him and I'm like, Aaron, bro, you are too deep and I'm going, it's my day. So I just whip this thing. I'm like halfway up the face and I whip it and I look where he is. I was like, he's not making it. Thank God he did it, because it would have been even worse. But he gets detonated. Ooh, and I'm just like, here we go. Let go of the rails. And I don't know how many people have experienced waves on that level. And I know you've probably heard about flow state and where things slow down. Almost every single wave out there, time slows down. It's just, you're just teetering on that edge of life and death so much that I think your brain can't really process it. So I remember the second that I let go of the rails, everything went slow motion. Still to this day, I remember everything. There's a boil. There's a couple of boils on the West Bowl, but I saw the boil like shift, and there's a little clear spot on the boil as I'm like pushing off my rails. I'm like, oh, weird, I'm controlling time right now. And as soon as I get to my feet, my eyes glance up, but my body's still going straight. And I'm just watching this thing stack. And I'm still in the headspace of like, this is the biggest wave I've ever paddled into. And I'm pulling into this thing. I don't care what it does. I'm like, I'm making my mark today. And sure enough, it just starts bending. And you'll see the channel, like you're looking out at like Maui, because the channel, and there's some hills on the other side of the West Bowl. So I'm going right, and I can see the red rock going into the ocean, and I'm just like watching the entire ocean start to lift up, and I have a chance to straighten out and get away from it. I'm like, not today. And I just pull up into the barrel and I just watch it. It was small at first, which was kind of trippy because it got almondy before it hit the boil on the inside. And I'm just watching the entire ocean just fold over me, and I'm up high. And then it just goes woof, and it expands. And I in my mind, in the way that I remember it, I'm looking up at just a cavern. I'm like, oh, yeah. But I'm like, I have the line. I was like, I have the line. Like, I set it in the perfect spot. But then what happened is it hit the inside boil, and it like took a breath. And when it expanded, my fin started to give out and my board starts sliding. And now I'm turned and I'm looking at the shed, like the wave in front of me instead of out of the barrel. And I'm all, uh-oh. my board goes, and I remember sliding on my back and looking up at this thing. And my board was 10-4 at the time. It's not being touched by the barrel. A 10-4 gun still has the lip over it while I'm sliding on my back, looking at the heavens just go over me. And then it goes fast again. This was all slow motion until you get picked up. And as soon as it pulled me down and you get like this, it's like dynamite, but it's muffled, right? Because you're in the water, you just and it feels like you're getting hit by, man, if you could crash a car into a waterfall, that's like the violent nature of it, right? Like you can't control your limbs, you're getting whiplash, you're just getting tossed around, but the punishment of how heavy the water is, and this is one thing a lot of people don't think about or experience, is you're instantly so deep underwater that you have to pop your ears because of the atmospheric pressure, right? Like if you're free diving and you're going down, you feel pressure, you got to pop your ears. But now it's 50 feet of water instantly goes over you, so it's instantly that much amount of pressure. Why you just getting rocked to the left and right, and you can't breathe,
It sounds awful.
It's big wave surfing is such a love-hate relationship, and thankfully that one, it was super aggressive in the beginning, but you get Garrett McNamara called it this. He calls it the hand of God, where sometimes so much force hits underneath, I don't know if it made it all the way down to the reef, but the energy has to come back up. So you're just getting lit up, and then all of a sudden something just starts, you get in the right spot where something just starts lifting you up, and you're getting caught in the cycle of the wave that's hitting down, but the energy has nowhere to go. I started getting blasted up towards the surface fairly quickly. So I wasn't down that long, but how violent it was in the beginning, I was, oh, this is it. I was like, you wanted it. You said it. Here you go, kid. And and then I saw the footage and I was all, that might be one of the worst wipeouts I've ever had. but also the biggest wave I ever paddled into, and the best shot I ever had of my life, because before it clamped on me, I'm standing in a cavern, just like that feeling, that vision I had of looking at the cliffs out of the barrel, seeing the jet skis go up the face of it, and then to get the shot, and I have the video of it and survived.
Yeah.
It's just,
yeah.
It's I will never. I'm glad it's so well documented, because I get to relive it, even though it was one of the scariest moments. It was also, the closer I've been to death, the more I felt alive. And it was one of those moments where so many good things happened and so much bad happened, all in such a short amount of time, that it was, oh yeah, just imprinted forever in my mind. That's the one that was nominated, because that was the biggest swallow that year. Everybody was there, and I actually made a barrel later. That was my first wave, and because I handled it fairly well, and everyone in the channel was like, "Go!" I was like, "Where's the next one?" It's like, I'm going. I caught 3 waves that day, which is a good day. If you catch 1 wave out there, you had a good day. You catch 2 waves, you had a great day. You catch 3, it was like one of your best sessions you've ever had, just because they're so hard to catch. And I made 2 out of, and yeah, with that crowd, well, good thing, they were good big wave surfers. They didn't really know the lineup yet, so I kind of knew where I could play. But on the last wave I had that day, it was a smaller one, but fully got barreled and came out. And then that solidified that got me sponsors, that got me a lot of exposure from that swell. It did what I wanted it to do. I went to go prove something, and it
right
it worked. It was arrogant and I almost died, but accomplished.